And with that, I'd like to pass the presentation over to our Director of Student Services, Marianne Christofferson. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for spending the time to join us tonight for this very, very special and important topic. I'd like to go ahead and begin. Go ahead and next slide, Megan. Perfect. Thank you so much. So I'd like to start with introductions. That's always a great place to start. And again, thank you for being here tonight. We hope this is going to be a learning experience for our community and especially our parent stakeholder group. Super important that you have this information. So again, Marianne Christofferson, Director of Student Services. I would like to let you know that we have created this slideshow and presentation with the Napa Police Department. So I'd like to introduce at this time Detective Darlene Elia, and she works for the Napa PD. Darlene, please say hello.
Hello, everybody. I appreciate you joining us to give this important information to you as parents of students in our district. I've been a police officer with Napa Police Department for over 20 years, currently assigned as a detective in our Youth Services Bureau, dealing with our youth in the school system.
Thank you, Darlene. Next, I'd like to introduce Drew Herron, who is the coordinator of student welfare and attendance. Drew?
Hi, yes. Good evening, everybody. I am the coordinator for student welfare and attendance, and have been as a teacher and administrator in the school district for 30 years now, and have found this presentation probably to be one of the most important that we will be delivering to our parents.
Thank you, Drew. And last, but certainly not least, Tony McIntosh, who is a social worker for the Napa Police Department. Tony, go ahead and say hello.
Hi, everyone, and I want to thank you all for joining us this evening. This is one of the most important topics that I think we are going to talk about tonight. I've been with Napa Police Department for about 20 years, and I work in the Youth Services Bureau, and I worked specifically with juveniles in the schools and in the city and parts of the county of Napa.
Very good. Thank you, everyone. Next slide, please, Megan. All right, so why are we here tonight? We are here to talk about fentanyl awareness. We want to educate our parent stakeholders and anybody that's joined us tonight. We are seeing fentanyl in our community, unfortunately. So it is here and it needs to be discussed, and we need to be able to talk to our students and your children. So we will give you ideas of what to look for. We will also talk about prevention, and we will give you an opportunity to ask your questions, but we're going to wait till the very end. I'd like to encourage you to have a pad of paper and a pencil or pen and just take some notes as you follow along our presentation. And then we can address those questions at the end. All right, very good. Next slide, please. So what is fentanyl? There's two types of fentanyl. There's the medical grade that's prescribed by a doctor, and there's the illegally made or the illicit fentanyl. So in medical settings, fentanyl is used as a pain reliever like oxycodone and morphine. However, the illicit fentanyl is very potent, and it's a synthetic opioid, and it's made in a lab. It's 50 times stronger than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. And this is why it is causing so many deaths globally in the United States, and it has also caused deaths of our youth here in our community. So just a few grains of this fentanyl can be deadly. So you will see the amount in a future slide. So we're going to go ahead and next slide. I'm going to turn it over to Drew.
Yes, so when we are looking at fentanyl and we're finding it in these fake prescription pills that are being offered by drug dealers, they look very real. So these are examples of pills that are not made by a pharmacy. These are made by drug dealers and have been used. And you can see the markings, the numbers all look very real. They've gotten a lot more sophisticated to try to, persuade people to buy from them and to fool them into believing that these are legitimate. And this is part of the reason why we're seeing such a rise in overdose deaths in the United States. For Americans under the age of 50, this is becoming the biggest cause of death, more so than heart disease, more so than cancer, and really is very concerning. So prescription pills are not bought over social media. You want to make sure that when we are buying those pills, they are coming directly from a pharmacy. So buying these from a drug dealer, it may contain some lethal dose, and really we need to make sure that even though drug dealers can say like, yeah, mine's legitimate because they look legitimate, but we really can't trust that. And people need to be really aware and very discerning when purchasing or seeing people purchase these kind of drugs. Next slide. So the chocolate chip cookie effect is something that happens when fentanyl is mixed in with a pill binder. So because these are not people that are working in labs, are not regulated, they're just mixing these things together on their own. They will then have what we call this chocolate chip cookie effect. So you can get a pill and it might not have any fentanyl in it. You might get a pill and it has a lethal dose of it. And just like a chocolate chip cookie, as you bite into it, sometimes you get one chip, sometimes you might get two, but there are times you don't get any. I know we have seen people that have said, well, I'm just going to take a half a pill. Well, even that half a pill can have a lethal dose of fentanyl. So it's just another concerning thing that about this drug that we really do not know what we're getting when we don't buy them directly from a pharmacy and when people are buying them off the street. Next slide. So what is a lethal dose amount of fentanyl? And I think this is a great graphic that kind of gives you an idea there. All it takes is 2 milligrams to be enough to kill an average size adult. So if you look at the 2 milligrams of fentanyl right there next to the penny, you can see why when we look at, that chocolate chip cookie effect, here they are, just that one little bit can be in even half a pill. So just even more reason that we need to, have awareness around how lethal this drug is. Next slide.
So real or fake, this is what we're running into when we are contacting our youth and our adults who have pills that do contain fentanyl. It's as discussed earlier, it's very difficult to determine what's real and what's fake. As you can see, the top pills there are real M30s. M30s would be Oxycontin, which is a very powerful painkiller that contains some type of synthetic heroin or morphine. The bottom is a fake M30 pill. These are sold on the streets. They're called perks, they're called oxys, and you can't tell the difference. As you can see, they're very, very similar. This picture on the right is a picture from an actual case being worked by our police department, where the person was selling these pills, calling them Percocets. And as you can see in that picture, they look authentic. They have the M stamped on one side, the 30 stamped on the other. They're blue in color. They have the line in the center. So by looking at these pills, you cannot tell the difference. What we're finding is these people are making these pills. You can buy a pill press off of Amazon or the internet for about $200 or $300. They mix the pills up. And then they press these M's and these 30s or Xanax or whatever it is they want to press into the pill to make it look like that, so that you cannot tell the difference. And even mostly to a trained eye, you can't tell the difference. The only way to tell is to actually test the pill in a lab. Next slide. So in 2022, the DEA seized more than 57.9 million fentanyl-laced fake pills and more than 13,400 pounds of fentanyl powder. So the 2022 seizures are equivalent to more than 400 million lethal doses of fentanyl. The United States has a current population of 300 million people. So it's enough fentanyl to kill everybody in the United States and then some. Of the pills that were seized, 6 in 10, so 60% of those pills that were seized contained a lethal dose of fentanyl. Next slide.
So this is our next slide. So the number one cause of death for 18 to 45-year-olds since 2020 is fentanyl. It's ahead of suicide, COVID, and car accidents. This is why we are reviewing all these statistics with you tonight, because we want you to know how prevalent this is in our community and also in the United States right now. Next slide.
So 71,000 fentanyl-related deaths in 2021. 4,765 were ages 14 to 23 years of age, which is a significant increase from this number in 2018. Next slide.
Yeah, the rate of teenagers overdosing on opiates has tripled nationally over the past 2 years. And that's just astounding to me, how rapidly things are growing. Fentanyl was associated with 77% of adolescent overdoses in 2021. And it's probably going to be a little bit higher when they do the statistics for 2023. Next slide, please.
Okay, signs of an overdose, and it's important that you know the signs in case you come home and you find your loved one unresponsive. So recognizing a fentanyl overdose can save a person's life. And so these are the signs according to the CDC. Small, constricted, pinpoint pupils, falling asleep or losing consciousness. When we talk about breathing, it could be slow, weak, or absence of breath. It can sound like a choking or gurgling sound when they breathe. Limp body, cold and or clammy skin, and discolored skin, especially in the lips and nails, which may turn blue or gray, and that's from lack of oxygen because they're not breathing. So we will be sharing, you're probably thinking right now, gosh, I want to write all these down. We're going to share these slides in both English and Spanish. We'll have it on our website, so you can look at this and refer to this later. And we also have resource slides at the very end. So just to let you know that, so you won't miss any of this information. Next slide.
So go ahead, Tony.
Okay, the next one is, you probably want to know what Narcan is. It's naloxone, and it's the street name, or what you probably know it by, is Narcan, and it's a medication called an opiate antagonist, and it's used to counter the effects of an opiate overdose. Naloxone has no potential for abuse. So even if you gave it to someone that was not overdosing, it wouldn't do anything if they were not suffering the effects of fentanyl. It's a temporary drug sprayed up the nose that wears off in about 20 to 90 minutes. It's used in overdoses to counteract life-threatening central nervous systems and respiratory system issues, allowing an overdose victim to breathe normally. Basically saves your life. It's often administered by emergency personnel. It can also actually be administered by minimally trained people, including nurses, teachers, police officers, and students. Within the Napa Unified School District sites, they have the Narcan, and it's used by the high schools. School resource officers also carry it with them at all times.
So just before we go to the next slide, I want to let you know that all of our health services staff, so all our nurses, have been trained in how to administer Narcan, and all our SROs, our school resource officers, are all trained to administer. And we have an upcoming training for our assistant principals at the secondary level this month, and when they will also be trained. So just wanted to add that. Next slide, please.
So what you may be asking is, well, how do I get this Narcan? Because of the opioid epidemic that we have going on in our country, they have made accessibility to Narcan much easier for people. You can check with your health insurance plan. It may be available free of charge or with a low copay. Medi-Cal covers some of it. So if you have Medi-Cal, it may cover some of the cost of it. You can visit any of the major pharmacies and ask a pharmacist for Narcan to see if it's for free. Some pharmacy chains such as Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid are involved in state programs that give out free Narcan. And then there is currently a nonprofit organization called Next Distro Mission. They work out of the San Francisco Bay and the Bay Area, and it's for at-risk people to find ways to access free or low-cost Narcan. So this would be people who are who have a drug abuse problem and use on a regular basis. They will give them Narcan so that they have it with them in case they do overdose. It's only set up to assist those without health insurance or who have limited resources. So you would have to qualify with them to get that. But going through your healthcare provider, you may have a small copay, $15 maybe, $20. But when you think about the effects of Narcan and what it can do, I have personally seen Narcan administered to probably over 50 people overdosing on fentanyl. And it reverses the effects of that fentanyl, and people literally come back to life before your eyes. It is one of the most important things that you can have in your medicine cabinet at home or carry in your car. And like Tony said, you cannot overdose on Narcan. So if you think someone is overdosing on fentanyl and you give them Narcan and they're really overdosing on something else, it's not going to hurt them. Next slide.
Okay, understanding and speaking up. This is probably one of the most important things that we're going to cover tonight. If your friend or your child or whoever is overdosing, you have to call 911 immediately. You know, and be honest with them. Don't worry about any repercussions coming back to you because they will have none. You are protected. So be honest with medical personnel. And if you have an idea of what has been ingested, please, please, please tell them. Time is of the essence, and Narcan can save a life. And as Detective Elia was saying, I've seen several times where instantaneously someone has been brought back to life when they had Narcan administered. And as I was saying earlier, California law protects the person overdosing from facing any criminal charges related to the drug use or possession. It is considered a medical call, and that's how it's handled. There is no criminality in this at all. Often police will show up to assist medical personnel with scene security or take possession of any illegal narcotics at the scene, and that's it. No one's arrested or anything. Our goal is to treat the person and get them the help that they need. Next slide, please.
So how does social media influence the use and access? Since we're talking to parents of students in our district, social media has taken over our students' lives, our children's lives. I have a teenager. It consumes their lives. It's in their face all the time. And the main social media apps that we are seeing right now that are influencing this are Snapchat, Instagram, and Discord. TikTok also is another one. And what's happening is our kids are on these social media apps for extended periods of time, hours upon the day that they're on there, and they're seeing celebrities, they're seeing sports stars, they're seeing music stars who are using this and who are glamorizing it. And because their brains are still developing, it's very difficult for them to understand the dangers of what these people are ingesting. And these social media apps are giving our students access to the people who are directly dealing these drugs. probably about 90% of our drug sales that we are dealing with in the police department that we're investigating are occurring through social media. It is no longer meeting the drug dealer in the alley, be in some seedy neighborhood. It's hooking up with them on social media and arranging for a meet. Next slide. So, drug trafficking via social media. This, like I said, 90% is what we're seeing now. This is where our students are getting their drugs. It's all through social media. So in just 3 steps, deadly drugs can be purchased and delivered to your home, just like any other good or service. We literally call it DoorDash for drugs because that's what it is. So our youth, they're seeing the advertisements on social media through Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Discord. Our kids they're using code words and emojis for what they want. So it's used to make it more difficult for parents to see what they're up to, or even for us as law enforcement. They try to use these code words so that we don't know what they're talking about. And then they are using apps that have disappearing capabilities, Snapchat being one of them. The chats they can set it for the chat to disappear immediately when it's open or 24 hours later. WhatsApp is another one where the messages disappear. Telegram is another one. So they're advertising their products on their sites. So the kids can go and they can see the pictures of whatever drugs it is that they're selling, whether it's, pills, cocaine, marijuana. And then the students can directly connect with them through a private messaging or by commenting on the post. And then sometimes once they make that initial contact, then they move over to the encrypted messaging applications, which are Telegram, WhatsApp, Signal. So if you're looking at your kid's phone and you see Telegram, WhatsApp, or Signal, those are applications on their phone that have the capability to disguise or encrypt their messaging. And then our students are paying for it using, the applications that we use as adults, which Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, PayPal. And so very rarely are they cash transactions. Sometimes they are, but the new way of things is all through digital. The risks that we're seeing and what I'm seeing in my investigations of these is our children are meeting with these people in person. They're meeting with them at the school grounds. They're meeting with them at the outlets. They're meeting with them at Target, and they're meeting with them at your homes. We have had students who have gone online, ordered up what they wanted, and they gave their home and address to the person who was dealing the drugs, and the person drove up to their house, walked up to their front door, and left it on the front doorstep. So this is what access our children have to this, and social media has made that so much easier for them. Next slide.
So we're looking at social media and the dangers that it has for your youth. This documentary is called Childhood 2.0. It is probably one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. And I strongly recommend that you watch it, and you watch it with your child. It talks about social media and the mental damage it has on your child. And it's real life teens talking about the negative impacts of social media. It's interesting. I get asked a lot if teens can become addicted to social media. The answer is yes. It damages brain cells. It does a lot of things. And this video is really, really, really informative and covers a lot of information, and I think everyone should know. Next slide.
Hang on. So there is a link. There'll be a link at the end of the slideshow directly to this video. And it's on YouTube, so you can watch it for free. And like Tony said, it is one of the best documentaries that I've ever seen that really encompasses what is going on with our youth and social media. And so I encourage every parent to watch it, and watch it with your teen, because I had my teen watch it and he was very astounded at kind of how social media companies use algorithms to target them. Next slide. So technology and parental controls. We need to start being more involved with our students. Parents need to start being more involved with their students, and looking at what they're looking at. and limiting their access to these social media apps, limiting their access to these people who are dealing drugs that are laced with fentanyl. They need to start monitoring screen time for their kids. We've become a digital age. Our children are spending hours upon hours on digital media. Kids are smart. They know how to hide files on their phone. And I've talked to many students who've actually shown me how they hide the files. I learn from them all the time. We need to be checking the history on their phones, their website histories, their call histories. And then we need to start learning how to lock down your student's phone. It's very important that we as parents educate ourselves. And unfortunately, we're a little behind the curve because not a lot of us grew up with this social media. So it's a huge learning curve for us. But it's important that we start locking our kids' phones down. And as a parent, you have every right to look in your child's phone. You have every right to search everything that's in that phone, and you have every right to monitor what your child is seeing or receiving on that phone. A lot of times we get parents in our office who are concerned, well, I don't know the password to my child's phone. That's unacceptable. That's your phone. That's not your child's phone. You're allowing your child to use that phone. You should have the password. A very simple rule is if I can't get into your phone, if you change the password and I can't get into your phone, then you don't get to have a phone. Because again, it's your phone. It's not your student's phone. So it's very important that you have access and the ability to look in it and have the conversation with your student that it is your phone and you have the right to look in it, and failure to allow that means that they don't have the privilege of having the phone. And this is a very important thing that I am seeing with kids that are having access to drugs is their parents don't look in their phones. They have no idea what their children are doing.
And I think to piggyback on what Detective Elia was saying, I think parents need to understand until a child is 18, they own nothing. They may have bought that phone, it is still your phone. And you need to understand that everything that they have is yours. You need to be searching their rooms, everything. You own everything. Next slide, please.
So obviously we can't be looking at their phones all the time and monitoring all the time. And as I just said, kids, they're smart. They learn how to hide stuff. They learn how to delete text immediately and all that. So we offer resources to parents that come into our office. And obviously we're offering these resources to you now. These are the top 3 digital media monitoring sites that it installs spyware on your child's phone, iPad, laptop, so that you can monitor what is going on with them and what they're doing. And each one is a little bit different and offers a little bit different services. The most important things is, as parents right now, is you need to have a spyware app on there that monitors their social media, so that you can monitor what they're typing in social media, what they're putting in social media. Snapchat is one of those social media sites that is specifically developed for stuff to disappear or for stuff to not be found. Most parents don't know that there's actually a section in Snapchat where they can hide photos, and it's called For My Eyes Only, and you have to have a passcode to get into it. So these spyware apps can help you keep your finger on the pulse of what is going on with your children. You can monitor everything they're typing in chats, what they're searching for on the internet, as well as who they're talking to through social media apps and what they're typing and uploading into these social media apps. And these will be, when you look at the slides, you can literally just type in the aura.com, eyes.com, or bark.com, and there's all different levels of plans that you can pay for. And they've really helped a lot of parents that we have dealt with in being able to monitor what's going on with their children.
And the other thing that's very good about this spyware, not only are you able to monitor what your child is doing, you're able to monitor what is being sent to them and, things of that sort too, which is very, I think, important. So you see everything that's going in and everything that's going out. Next slide, please. So we have tip.
So this,
Oh,
yeah, this is a service
there,
that we've
there we
had
go.
for quite some time in our school district, and is a great opportunity to kind of bring it back up to the forefront here. And it's called Tip 411. We have these posters all around our campuses and classrooms throughout our school district, and it's a way that students and even parents can send an anonymous tip to the Napa Police Department. It's very straightforward. You text to 847-411, and in the message you type 707 NPD. And this information, whatever it is, it can, it could be people that are selling drugs. It could be concerns about friends that might be using fentanyl or other kind of drugs. There's lots of other things that students can utilize this service, but it is effective. We do have kids that use it. And it's also available now for parents. So as you are able to get this presentation, you can refer to the slide to give any anonymous tips that might be useful for our police department to be aware of. Next slide.
Just thank you, Drew. Just to add that these have been distributed to all school sites and they should be in every classroom. Next slide.
Thank you.
Another resource available to parents and to students is our Napa Special Investigations Unit, so NSIB. Their primary mission is to provide professional narcotics investigation and enforcement efforts dedicated to identifying, apprehending, and prosecuting illegal narcotic and drug traffickers in Napa County. They have a hotline that you can call, 224-DRUG or 224-3784. Your tips can be completely anonymous, or you can leave your name and phone number if you would like an agent to reach out to you and you would like to provide more information to them. One of the things with this is the more information that you can put in the tip, especially if you want to remain anonymous, the much easier it is for them to be able to follow up and focus their attention on what needs to be focused. Next slide.
Okay, this concludes the presentation part. We just want to kind of reiterate, fentanyl use can touch anyone. Please talk to your child to discuss the dangers of fentanyl use. Remember, you own their phones, so you have every right to check how they're using it. And that can literally save your child's life. We encourage you to have Narcan in your home. I'm going to show you the resource slides in just a second, but they are for parental support or anybody that is interested in learning more. And then we have a challenge for our parents that are on this call. What is a next step you could take as a parent after learning about this information this evening? What is one thing, one step you could take from tonight? Megan, would you go to the resource slides so we could just review that? We'll come back to the questions and answers, but go one more. Okay. So the resources we have linked in, and you just have to press on the link and you'll be able to have access. So Dead on Arrival, powerful video on fentanyl. It's about 21 minutes. We also have another one called Hidden in Plain Sight. It's also a video, and that's around 18 minutes, and it kind of details, it's from the DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency, and it will kind of show you how students can hide drugs in their bedroom, unfortunately. We also have, does somebody want to speak to Child 2.0?
So Childhood 2.0, I think it's maybe about an hour and 20 minutes. It's a full-length documentary. And like Tony was saying earlier, it's a great documentary because it centers around students your age and their experiences with social media, and really delves into how these social media companies are actively targeting our youth and changing their algorithms to target our youth so that they become addicted to these and give them full access to drugs and other nefarious type of activities.
You know, one of the things, and speaking of this video, one of the things that struck me the most was they interviewed the people that actually started Facebook and various social media platforms and things, they don't let their kids on social media. Their kids don't have phones. And I think that that's interesting. And when you look at it and they talk about it, it's because they know what it does to the kids. And coming from them, it's powerful.
So the next bullet down, Drug Enforcement Administration, there's just facts on fentanyl. And then there's a social media drug trafficking info, again, from the DEA.
And that will give you,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
that will give you, so for parents, it's like it's 3 pages. It will give you the emojis that kids are using for drugs, so that you can see, you know, when you're looking in your child's phone, if you see these certain emojis, you know what they mean. It kind of gives you the lingo that's being used by our youth.
Perfect. So I wanted to just highlight the Michael Leonardi Foundation. I want to thank Michael's parents. They came and spoke to Vintage High School, our juniors and seniors, and we are going to duplicate that at Napa High and at American Canyon High School. They lost their son Michael to fentanyl in 2020. He was a freshman in college down in San Diego. And he also was a student that attended Napa High School. He graduated from Napa High School. So that is a youth that we know of, that I feel like I can freely share, because they go around, they go around all over the country with this presentation. There's also, we linked in 10 strategies to prevent youth from using drugs. The next one is how to get Narcan, free Narcan. And then Megan, if you could go to the last resource slide. And then Darlene, you want to talk about, Darlene or Tony, you want to talk about the iPhone parental control?
So when we were talking about locking your student's phone down, both of these links, depending upon what type of phone your student has, whether it be iPhone or Android, either one of those links, you click on it and it tells you step by step how to put parental controls on your student's phone, and how you can schedule downtime, how you can restrict what type of apps they can download, how you can put time limits on applications. My son, I have a time limit on his Snapchat. He gets 1 minute because that's the least amount of time you can get. And so it walks you through step by step how to put these parental controls on your student's phone, and then you enter the password, and nothing can be changed on that phone without that password. So these are very informative sites to help you go step by step in locking down your student's phone.
Great. And, you know, if you're wondering why we're really reviewing the whole phone access, it's because that's how they're getting the fentanyl, is using their phones and hooking up that way. So I just want to make sure everybody's clear about that. And then Megan, if you would go to the slide about the question, the Q&A. Perfect. Thank you, Megan. So we have an option now for parents to go ahead to ask questions. And so Viviana, do you want to explain that?
Thank you. Thank you, Marianne, and thank you to all the panelists. Thank you very much. If you'd like to go ahead and comment or a question, the raise hand icon is on the bottom. Feel free to go ahead and press that, and we'll go ahead and work with Megan to get your question answered. So feel free to go ahead and do so now. If you'd like any question or comment, we're here to go ahead and make sure to address that. Looks like there's one from a phone number. Megan, would you be able to, I don't have a name, so I apologize. It starts with 337. If that person can be unmuted. Oh, they put their hand down, excuse me. Okay, we have a question from Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Megan, would you
hear
be
me okay? Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm wondering why we're restricting the information or the parents of Michael. Why aren't we showing that to freshmen as well and sophomores?
We will get to that, Lisa. We felt that it was, we're seeing probably more use in our juniors and seniors, but it will trickle down all the way to our freshmen and sophomores.
Great. I work in public safety. I'm a paramedic captain with San Francisco Fire. And I will have to tell you that there is no age limit to who gets a hold of fentanyl, unfortunately.
Thank you, Lisa.
So yeah, if you could bring it to all the kids, it'd be great.
Yes.
Otherwise, your presentation was spot on. The other thing is Narcan just recently was approved for over-the-counter sales.
Great. Thank you for that, Lisa. We appreciate you letting us know that.
Thank you so much, Lisa. We now have a hand from Judy. Hi, Judy.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Tony. Hi, great presentation. Question, not clear, where do we find the same presentation so we can share it with other people?
We'll have it on our website, our district website.
Okay, so they'll be able to just watch exactly what we just saw?
Yes.
Okay, great.
And all the
Perfect.
links will be there too.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Marianne, everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
Judy, we will also have the recording of this session, both in English and in Spanish, available on our YouTube channel as well. Thank you very much. David Gracia, good evening. How are you? How can we help?
Yeah, I was just curious if there was more information on the monitoring programs, because I looked at the eyes.com and BART.com. Eyes.com is a URL that's for sale, and you could buy it from GoDaddy, and BART.com is trying to connect you with professional services. So I think maybe we need more information there.
Well, and I might be able to address that. There are several different ones. What I invite people to do is reach out to Napa Police Department, to the Youth Services Bureau. We have that information. We are willing to sit down with parents and go over it, walk you through whatever we need to do and make sure that you get the right applications.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that. It might be, we might need to adjust the link. I know the eyes.com one works because I use it. So we can double check that to make sure. What we might just do is put those links at the end of this slide. I can go to the websites and then embed the links into the slide to make sure that you're not getting sent on some wild goose chase to different
maybe
sites.
we can do that once we're done with the question and the question and answer, the Q&A portion. Let's just huddle in my office and we'll look those up. So
yeah,
they have the
thanks
right
for letting us know. Yeah, thank you for letting us
President
know.
Gracia.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We are still open for questions or comments. I don't see anything at the moment, but we invite you to, ask away. We're here to support tonight. But at the moment, I don't see any more questions or comments. Yeah, we don't have any more.
Do you see any more, Viviana?
Oh, we just got one right now. Ms.
Okay,
Reyes.
good.
Hi, Ms. Reyes. Hola, Ms. Reyes.
Sí, buenas tardes. Disculpa. Se les están dando en las escuelas, en la middle school, esta información a los estudiantes sobre de las drogas.
Claudia, would you like to repeat the question so everyone hears it in English?
Se les está dando.
One moment, I'll have to pull her back from the interpretation channel. 1 second.
Thank you. Un momentito, señora Reyes.
Sí.
The question is if this information is also being shared with middle school parents about the risk of this drug.
Wanting to know if this is being shared with the middle school parents. This presentation.
This presentation it's open to all district families, K-12.
So that's elementary school, high school, middle school, all the schools, all the parents in the
All the
school
parents
district.
have been invited.
And-
Well, we can push this out to the different school sites as well, the recording and also the presentation. It seems like people are very interested in this topic. Any more questions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a few more.
I'm just waiting for Paul to interpret the
Oh,
question.
gotcha.
So,
Thank you.
Yes, I already translated into Spanish.
Okay, my apologies. We usually do back
Don't
and
worry.
all of the audience knows the question and all of the audience has the answer, but thank you so much. Lisa, how are you?
So I had one more question. Is Narcan available on middle school campuses?
Not
Do
yet,
this-
Lisa, not yet, but it will be.
Thank you.
And Lisa, I can also tell you, our school resource officer who handles our middle schools has Narcan with him at all times.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa. Next, we have Rita. Hi, Rita.
Hello, good evening. Great presentation. I want to thank you guys for this. I believe the question that the Señora Reyes was asking is that if this awareness is being brought to the middle school. I have a middle school child. He will be leaving Unidos this year, but I think starting them at middle school is definitely a great idea, just because they're exposed, as you know. I'm preaching to the choir, but I think that's what she was asking, is if that they are made aware of the types of drugs that are out there.
Yes, that is our goal.
Thank you.
And thank you very much, Rita, for clarifying that. Thank you so much. The next question comes, I see Parkhurst. Hello.
Hi, hello. My name is David Parkhurst. Sorry, I didn't provide my first name, but I just wanted to applaud the panel here. I think you guys are meeting the rubber. So the rubber is meeting the road here. You guys are tackling the appropriate accountability of the parents to the child, the phone control. I just encourage everybody listening to do it. Take the steps necessary to take control of your child's phones and own the responsibility of monitoring what content they're exposed to and who's communicating with them. So thank you for emphasizing that. Thank you for sharing these resources. I'm just encouraged by the community here, and I'm hopeful for a better outcome.
Thank you, David.
Thank you so much.
One of the things, yes, thank you, David. One of the things that's in the works right now that Tony and I are working on and working with the district attorney's office is putting together basically a social media and electronics course for our parents that will literally help you to understand how these social media apps work, and giving parents the opportunity to come in hands-on, and we will walk you through the process of how to maintain control of your students' laptops, their iPads, and their phones. Unfortunately, there are not enough hours in the day, but that is coming, and we are hoping to roll that out before the next school year starts in August.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. Thank you both. Jennifer, how are you today? We have Jennifer Van Warmerdam, please.
Hi, thank you for taking my question, and thank you for this excellent panel. Is there any discussion or thought about teaching, high school kids how to use Narcan? Because, it's not likely that a resource officer is always going to be around, or whoever that has it.
I'm sorry, Jennifer, you're cutting out a little bit. Would you be able to repeat that? I don't know if you caught that. You were cutting out a little bit.
I think what Jennifer was trying to get across was, will we make Narcan available for our students?
Yes,
I think the use.
My question.
Yes, go ahead, Jennifer.
You're muted, Jennifer.
Or will we teach them how to use it?
My question was
yeah.
that, really more of a statement. How about teaching kids how to use Narcan?
Yes, yes, we can instruct students how to use Narcan.
Thank you.
And I thank you, Jennifer. And I think it's also important that I mean, there's all kinds of videos on the internet, and the Narcan instructions show you how to do it. So as parents, having this discussion with your student and pulling up the video and showing them how it is administered, it's very simple. But I would hope that eventually the goal would be that, and it's such a sad state that we are here in this day and age, but yes, we would like all of our students to know how to administer it.
You know, and that may be one of the times that the parent can use this as a teaching lesson or a teaching tool for their children. Sit down with them, watch the video, explain what Narcan is, and actually help them administer it. I think that's one of the things that we should be doing with our children.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. We also have a question from Andrea Limon. Hi. Hi.
Hi. So I was just kind of wondering what we're doing just as an aspect of that. My son's in 9th grade, but I feel like we have kids that are experiencing this way before. And so when I look at this, my son's actually really great and I'm so thankful for it, but his sister is going down a different path. I feel like we see certain little aspects that you can kind of see, well, they're just not, you know, thriving in certain scenarios. What are we going to do for maybe the middle schools or before they actually come into the high schools? Because I feel like, again, he's a freshman and I believe that he's doing so great, but every child has a different path and they all do different things through their backgrounds. I would love to see something in the middle schools, elementary, within this, because it's not just a high school epidemic. How can we just kind of like transition, if that makes sense?
Yeah. As part of the instructional division, we're working on that, Andrea. We are working towards that goal. We really wanted to start with our parent stakeholders. We wanted to inform them first. So you're in the know first. A lot of times
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of times we start with the students and we forget about the parent component. So we wanted to start with our parents, and we need to do more because we have about 80 parents on the call tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a lot more in our, in our community that attend Napa Valley Unified School District schools. So we're going to build on this. This is a starting point, and
I appreciate it. I'm not saying anything negatively about it.
No, I appreciate that. But I hear
it's
what
just
you're
that
saying.
like my daughter is, my son's 14, right? He's a freshman, so he has a different mindset, and my daughter's 8 that has like a 16-year-old mindset. And
Oh dear.
that we talked about, right? Like the TikTok, like the whole social media and all those kinds of things. Of course, it all comes to me at the end of the day. Like I can allow what she's going to see, and that's a part of me, right? Like again, as a parent, but at the same time, she has friends that have different parameters and different things that they're going to view, and they're going to speak about it, and that's okay. And so we always come back and we always say, hey, well, yeah, that kind of worked out, or maybe that didn't work out. And so again, I just feel like from when I was a child in the 80s, 90s, things are a little different, and everything's a little very fast paced. We're seeing things that are just, again, like you guys mentioned about social media, and I would love to see something just like this held at a smaller division like elementary, middle school, because I feel with everything, and again, this is just me being very open and honest. We see a lot of gun violence. We see a lot of prescription medications being abused. We see a lot of drugs being used, and it all starts, actually, in my opinion, it starts at home. There's things that we can't control, divorce, parents that have substance abuse, and again, that all forms all the things to our children that, again, are now in high school. And at that point, it just gets to a point we can't control. So again, I would love to see all of this that we did today. Mom, that's my daughter. Sorry.
All right, thank you, thank you, Andrea.
Little girl. Anyways, I think I made my point across. My little baby
Yes,
girl
thank you.
just got out of the shower, so I appreciate you guys. I think I spoke enough. Thank you. Mom, why?
Thank you very much for that. It looks like that may have been our last question. I don't see any other raised hands. I don't know if you'd like to add, Marianne, or any of the.
No, I'm just very grateful. I'm grateful for the panel. I'm grateful to the parents who showed up tonight. Thank you. It shows us you really care. And thank you, Claudia, Fabiola, Megan, Paul, and of course, the team that presented tonight. And we hope to do more of this. So thank you very much. We hope you have a great evening, and we're going to say goodnight.
Thank you all so much for attending. Just a reminder that this will be on our YouTube channel. I also want to remind you that we have our last session next Wednesday, May 10th. We will have Dr. Rios speaking to us on the ecosystem of Cariño. And that will address how we make sure that we promote prosperity with all of our students by addressing the whole child. So we'd love to see you at 6 o'clock next week. Till then, thank you all so much. And thank you for participating tonight. Have a great night. Thank you.
Bye-bye.